So, the death cross is going to happen in a couple of days for Bitcoin. We're going to get into that. But more importantly, actually, there's some switches in the way these stories are going. I want to talk about sort of the narrative that seems to be changing around crypto. Um, because the way that the FUD stories happened, um, the same is now happening, but around positive stories around crypto. And I think we're on the precipice of a switch into positive news stories. Timing is curious, so I want to get into that as well. Before I do, as always, the spreadsheet's updated. These were just the first 26 coins I spoke about on the channel. Why is that in red? It should be green. And the only one that's down is Grin. If you'd invested $100 into each of these coins, you'd be sitting in profit for a grand total of $21,919. Phantom's in yellow because I thought it would be the best investment of the year. That's what I said on Udemy, where I did a video saying, like, going through the many reasons I thought it would smash it, and said that it could well 100x, and at one point it did 180x. So pretty good. I don't think this bull cycle's over, and I'm going to get into why in a sec. If you're brand new to crypto, check out Copy My Crypto. I share my live portfolio. I'm in a few of these, but which are coins that I think are going to offer just significantly better gains overall in this bull cycle, and just significantly better opportunities or returns, whether it's through staking or whatever. So if you are new to crypto, or even if you've been in crypto a while, check it out because you want to see what I'm holding and why I'm holding it. And it might, if you're seasoned in crypto, it just gives you a different perspective. And if you're new to crypto, it's something that you could really benefit from. That being said, let's get into it. Look at it. We're coming up to it. Looks like we're going to have this happen in the next 2-3 days, probably over the weekend. Really depends how low Bitcoin hits today. But the death cross is almost certainly going to happen now. Now, actually, if we actually go all the way back to previous death crosses, remember death cross is a lagging indicator. So it's not actually, like, it's showing a trend that's already occurred. So it's not overly concerning. But the previous time that we had a death cross was I'm in the wrong bloody chart, that's why. Was in March. I think it was March the 16th. Pretty sure it was it March 16th? I think it was. Let's have a look. And actually, there we go. So there was our actual first death cross, March 25th, sorry. And that huge COVID candle obviously caused the 50-day moving average to drop dramatically, which, a few days later you saw it cross. When it crossed, we experienced sort of 4 days of negative pressure, and then the market started recovering. It was sideways movement for a little bit, but then the market recovered fast and really well. But it was sideways movement for, up until sort of July, really, and then July was the real breakout. But yeah, after it broke back in May, it was sideways movement for a few months before a huge spike again. And I think we could see this. I think we could see it. It feels like it's setting up. The volumes are all really good here. And then they do start petering out. But look, I mean, if we actually look, the volumes here around when Bitcoin's knocking around 56,000 are not different at all. In fact, the volumes in the last week have been higher than the volumes when Bitcoin was at 56. So the volumes aren't too bad. They're not as bad as people keep making out. The key thing really that we want to see is the next 3 or 4 days, because there could still be another 20-30% correction across the board, but I think we'll then bottom out and we could potentially start a rally. But 30%, 40% max. So we're talking about between 20 and 25 grand as a drop for Bitcoin. But after that, I think we'd bottom out and start rallying again. And the news stories are getting interesting. Before I get into that, Michael Berry, if you're familiar with him, has warned that this market bubble is the biggest one in history as he returned to Twitter. Michael Berry is obviously very famous for a few things. Well, the most famous thing he's for is betting against the mortgage bonds, betting against the housing market and making stupid money. And he also recently did the GameStop investment, longing it, and when he could see that there were over shorts on it, like manipulation. But that was a couple of days ago now. They tweeted this, so it doesn't seem to have had too much of an impact. Now, the reason that I think that there's a switch happening. Remember the Twitter thread. If you don't remember the Twitter thread, let me just get it up. So this was the Twitter thread about how FUD works, right? In terms of how you manipulate a market. And one of the key points that was made was after people decide they want to enter the market, but the prices are too high, we're going to crash the market, so allow you to scoop up cheap Satoshis. So step one is the groundwork, paying several low-tier media outlets to push bearish news, but not promote it on their channel. It just sits there for now. And step two is pay several contributors to Bloomberg, Forbes, and others, citing the original article. And that starts a negative news cycle. Now, that's the work for FUD. The same is actually going to be true for creating hype again. And you've got to bear in mind, like, we're starting to see, again, in smaller media outlets, I've seen a number of really positive stories. You know, this one is in oilprice.com. And it was written like a day ago about Elon Musk saying he'll accept Bitcoin as payment if crypto goes green. But this is an old story, like this is a week old, because Musk said it a while ago where he was talking about, once Bitcoin goes more green, then he'd start doing it. And we're starting to see little bits of that. If you actually look around for the past week, there are a lot of smaller sites talking positively about crypto, and it's going to be really interesting. Keep an eye on the mainstream media outlets, and are they going to start citing old articles of positive crypto stories? Because that's the reverse of what we've seen previously. Because this Two Comma Pauper, this thread is phenomenal in terms of reminding you of what happens in a FUD wave. And the same will be true counterintuitively. So we've got to keep an eye on how things move with regards to positive news stories now. So keep an eye on positive news stories in smaller outlets, and then keep an eye on the bigger outlets, because if we start seeing them pop up, there is work towards FOMO again, and it's just the whales working counter now. Keep an eye. But a bigger thing, this came out today. Yesterday. The World Economic Forum. Not a fan of the people involved in it. However, we know they have influence, enormous influence in a lot of ways. The companies and the individuals within this organization work with governments. Work with the biggest companies in the world. And they're talking very positively. This entire article is exceptionally positive about cryptocurrency as the future. Cryptocurrency ecosystem is shifting towards a cleaner, greener future. Most energy used to mine crypto already comes from renewable sources. Rather than harm the planet, the crypto and blockchain can actually be a force of environmental good. That is a massive, massive switch. especially when this is on the World Economic Forum's site. I will state this, it's also written by the CEO of Bittrex Global, so it's somewhat tainted perspective. But the fact that it's been okayed to go on the site is no small thing. It's no small thing at all. And in the article, they talk about the fact that the proof of stake is so energy efficient. They talk about the fact, obviously, that Bitcoin itself is mostly mined with renewable energies. And they also point out even the industry's main lobbying arm, the World Gold Council, has acknowledged the metal's huge carbon footprint. And in terms of climate impact, cryptocurrencies could be the transformation of minimizing all of that. One area that's particularly ripe for disruption is the global supply chain, in particular the energy sector. Amidst this transition between polluting fossil fuels and the clean, renewable future, we should be looking for ways to mitigate and streamline the processes involved in extracting and transporting energy. And we've already seen Indian steel conglomerate Tata Steel is partnering with HSBC to conduct experiments with smart contracts on the blockchain. Things are, I really can't overstate how big a deal this is, that this is an article shared or published on the World Economic Forum's website. I know they're hugely into climate and all of that, and they've got some concerning behavior patterns from my perspective. However, as influencers in the world, with governments, with industries, if they're now becoming bullish and hyper pro blockchain and crypto, countries and industries will very much end up being a part of this future. Now, I always thought that was the case anyway, but something like this can really hasten the adoption. And that is a big story. And I've not seen it on news channels yet, and I'll be really interested to see if it does hit some news channels. Because like I said, guys, they've got some influence. But the news stories are really we're starting to see real little bits positive in some small areas. That's a big deal. I think it's a matter of time before we start seeing the news narrative change. And when the news narrative changes, the market changes. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty positive going into the weekend. I think there's going to be some awesome buying opportunities as well, because I think there's still going to be a few days of a bleed, but maybe a couple of weeks. We've got to be honest. We don't know how bad a correction it could be. I think there will be one short term, but I think it will recover. This is a lagging indicator, as in an indicator of something that's happened. So while it always has an impact negatively for a little bit, I don't think it's going to be significant. And I think it's just going to be an opportunity to strengthen some really good hands in crypto. So keep an eye out for the alts that you're in. If you think that they're going to smash it, you've got an opportunity to strengthen your hands over the coming weekends. Dollar cost average, not sexy, but sensible. And yeah, don't panic. Don't panic. If you're in crypto because you believe it is the future, hold firm on that. Even if the worst case thing happened and we hit a bear market, we all know that we're not going to be in a bear market for that long. We might have a few years of it, but I don't know, it just doesn't ring true. We've not had a blow off top. Not had a blow off top. Bitcoin hasn't hit the heights of the Plan B's stock to flow model, and I believe that that's a really accurate model. I don't think it's going to be exact, but it's going to be more. But it's not going to be this off. Just doesn't ring true. So there's some way to go still. And like I said, as much as I'm not particularly a fan of this organization, this is a really positive story, like article to be on their site, and it's part of an agenda, which is a good thing because, like I said, they have influence. This is going to hit some mainstream media sites soon, and you heard it here first. Um, anyway, that's it from me. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Come in England tonight. Um, and if you're brand new to crypto, check out Copy My Crypto. Perfect way for you to get started. See what I'm holding, see the opportunities because a bunch of my tokens are on bloody good discount right now with the bulls with the bearish momentum we've been in. So you could really take that opportunity with both hands. Anyway, that's it from me. Take care and stay safe. Bye, guys.